The greatest player in every NBA team's history. Number 1, the Houston Rockets. Hakeem Olajuwon. If anyone who says James Harden, you're fucking stupid. It's Hakeem. The Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James. I don't know if anyone else could possibly be here. Like, who else do they have? Mark Price. The Milwaukee Bucks. It is Kareem. If you say Giannis, I would understand at the end of his career. Until then, it is Kareem, and I will stand by that till the day I die. The Wizards. Wes Unseld. There is quite literally no one else on this list. There's him and Elvin Hayes. The Wizards are one of the bleakest teams in NBA history, besides possibly the Hornets. Next will be the Toronto Raptors. It'll be Kyle Lowry. Anyone who says Kawhi Leonard is probably glazing him for the 2 seasons that he was healthy, and he actually did something. So yeah. Next is the Los Angeles Lakers. It will be Magic Johnson. It is not Kobe or Shaq. It is Magic. I'll stand by that. The Brooklyn Nets. Jason Kidd. There is very few other people on this list, as the Nets have a very bleak history, similar to the Cavaliers, but at least we're not the Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets. Larry Johnson. It's a very bleak list. You could have put Kemba. I really don't care, but they're the Hornets. They're a poverty franchise. I can't even think of anyone who's a fan of them. So next, we're going to be doing the Oklahoma City Thunder. It'll be Russ, because he didn't, give him the finger and run away to the Hornets like a little bitch like KD. Go watch my video on KD, because, I ranted about him for a little bit. The Golden State Warriors. This is going to be Steph. It's not Wilt. He's a stat patter. But I'm not a fan of Steph. I'm annoyed at him that he, choked the 3-1 lead to help LeBron fans argue their point, because they should have won that series, and even though LeBron was technically the best player, I don't really care. So, I guess it's Steph, probably. So next we're doing the Utah Jazz, and it's gonna be John Stockton, even though both of their 2 greatest are bad people, because John Stockton's a conspiracy theorist, and there's Nasty Man on the other spectrum. And so I'm not putting Nasty Man at number 1, so it's going to have to be John Stockton, even though he never scored a 35-point game in over 1,000 tries. Next, we have the Atlanta Hawks, and it's going to be very clearly Dominique Wilkins. It's a very bleak list after that, because the Atlanta Hawks have not been very good in their history. Next up is the Orlando Magic, and the greatest player in their history will be Dwight Howard. Only because he stayed there longer. He has very similar accomplishments to Shaq, but he stayed longer, so I think he gets the nod here. Nuggets, Nikola Jokic. I don't think there's any arguments here. He won them a chip, and he has also won multiple MVPs. His brothers are also absolutely terrifying, too, so I think if I didn't say that, now I think about it, they'd probably murder me, but, that's how it goes. The New York Knicks, Walt Frazier. Patrick Ewing is very close, but I give Walt Frazier the nod for the chips. The Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas. Some people would argue Chauncey Billups, and I understand that, but I'm going to give the 3rd greatest point guard the nod. Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. Do I even need to explain? He's the GOAT. I rest my case. The Los Angeles Clippers, the most forgotten California team. It's going to go to Chris Paul. Lob City didn't do anything in the playoffs, but Chris Paul gets to be their GOAT for now. Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki. To anyone saying Luka at the moment, you're wrong. Maybe by the end of his career if he can win a chip, but anyone who says Luka now is clinically insane. Philadelphia 76ers, Moses Malone. It's not AI, it is Moses Malone. He is very forgotten, but he is still a top 30 NBA player of all time, if not top 20. Memphis/Vancouver Grizzlies, Marc Gasol. This is once again a very bleak list. Like the Hornets, they are definitely a poverty franchise. So I'm very sorry to anyone living in Memphis or Vancouver. The Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash. He was cheated on by his wife with one of his teammates, but he's still a 2-time MVP, and I'm giving him the nod over Charles Barkley. Even though one of his MVPs was fraudulent, he did stay a longer time in Phoenix. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Kevin Garnett, my favorite player of all time. I love Kevin Garnett, and I don't have much to say besides that. He's very clearly their GOAT. I don't know who else they have there who would even be in the conversation. The Sacramento Kings, Oscar Robertson. And, Oscar he's an old head, but he's a very good player. And I would, he's a great player. I don't have much to say about it. I'm not too well versed in the old NBA, but I still give the old heads their flowers, and I still salute them. The Boston Celtics, Larry Bird. Some people are gonna flame me for not picking Bill Russell, but the people in Boston don't even like him. I'll show, I'll put an article up on screen, and the people in Boston don't like him, and I think Larry Bird just embodies what it is to be a Celtic. Next will be the Indiana Pacers, and it'll be Reggie Miller. This is another bleak list. They've only been good for like 5 years at a time, like every 30 years, and it kind of sucks. But that's just how it is sometimes. The Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade. I'm gonna get flamed for not putting LeBron, but I would say Dwayne Wade because he won, his own chip in '06, and I think he deserves the nod here. And he stayed with them for a longer time than Bron, and he was the catalyst to get Bron in the first place. So I would prefer Dwayne Wade to be the Heat's GOAT, so I'm putting him there. The San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan. I don't think there's much competition here, as he is a top 10 player of all time, and is very obviously his team's GOAT. The Portland Trailblazers, Clyde Drexler. Casuals are going to flame me for not putting Dame, but it's very clearly not Dame, because outside of 2 shots, he has not been the best playoff performer, and Clyde Drexler essentially carried that team to relevance. So it is the Clyde Drexler, in my opinion, and it is Clyde Drexler quite obviously. And finally, we'll end it with the poverty franchise, the New Orleans Pelicans. I've been to New Orleans, and the stadium is pretty sick, but they're a poverty franchise. They've had 2 really good players, Chris Paul and AD. They're very similar, stayed there for almost the same years, both got 3rd in MVP. And so it's really, to me, it's inconclusive. I lean Chris Paul because he got them a little further, I believe, in the playoffs. But honestly, the Pelicans haven't had much. I'm sorry to Pelicans fans, but you guys haven't had much. So I feel for you a bit as a Nets fan. So if you made it all the way to the end, thank you very much. And please subscribe. I'm trying to get to, 100. And I'm trying to get monetized so I can make that sweet money, because I like money just as much as every American does.